Now, I brought this up to you guys because I want to talk to you about what a reversal engulfing candle is. All right, so when you have a move that takes you to all-time highs or 52-week highs or 52-week lows, and let's say you're going up, you're going up, you're going up, the kicker for a reversal engulfing candle is you need to open above the previous candle here, and you need to close below the previous. Essentially, reversal, meaning it reverses the up move to its entirety, and not only that, it opens above and closes below. Now, obviously, in crypto, this doesn't happen very often. It's more in stocks because the stock market closes at 4 p.m. and opens at 9:30 Eastern time the next day. But that would be the equivalent of a reversal engulfing candle. All right, so just in that light, I just want to quickly jump over to my charts and show you exactly what we're talking about here. So if we look at this NVIDIA chart, right, so this is exactly what I just taught you guys. And again, the idea here is that this is a lot of education. I want you guys walking away from these game plans with an additional amount of knowledge that maybe you didn't have before. Notice again, NVIDIA was climbing, 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 climbing. Friday, we saw an open above the previous day's high, and on Friday, it closed below the previous day's low. That would be the equivalent of a classic reversal engulfing candle. Now, these are powerful because essentially on the gap up on Friday, what you had was massive hysteria, everyone trying to get in. That's why it gapped up. There was so much hype going on. Well, guess what? By the end of the day, the institutional money, the big money, and this was a huge volume day. This was huge selling pressure, just pounded this thing down. Again, the bottom fell out of it. A lot of people get either stopped out on their shorts right up here, or a lot of people end up buying right up here and they get flushed out on the way down. Essentially, this happened not too long ago with SMCI, and you saw that that stock traded down from 1077 back into the 700s before it got another leg up. All right, so again, just right there, that again fits the criteria for a topping tail. Now let's go over what a topping tail is. Well, number one, there's some criteria that you must remember. Number one, it has to be at a recent high. Generally, I look back about 90 candles or so I'm going back 90 days. It was easily at a high. All right, number two, it has to have a big size candle. Like, it can't be a little candle like this right here, right, where it's just a tiny little thing with a long tail there. It needs to be a large candle from peak to low, from high to low. It has to be significantly larger and or equal to the biggest candles going back. Well, if we look at this, right, if we look at this right here, that size there, that's bigger than this, all the way back here, much bigger than any other candle. Okay, so that fits the criteria, right? Next up, you have to have a tail that is at least 50% of the entire high to low. Check. So that checks off as a tail. The close of the candle must be in the lower 25% of the entire length. It closed right down here. There's no doubt, considering this is all you have left down here, that this is at least in the lower 25%. So again, as I do this, and this is what goes on in my brain, when I look at candle formations on the charts and I'm teaching it to you or I'm using it in my own trading, I'm doing this checklist in my brain. And again, this is some of the stuff I teach in the Winning Trader series. But the idea being is this does confirm as a topping tail signal. Now again, topping tails are reversal bearish signals. So what this tells me is that there's a high probability, notice I'm saying probability, not guarantee, that ultimately we should see a reversal here to the downside in the coming days. Now, is it common for a retrace? Yeah, a lot of times what you'll see here is that price will go up a little bit the next day and then roll over. But either way, this would be looked at as a high probability scenario for a top in GE stock. All right, guys, again, just love going into this educational stuff. Key to me now is, does it confirm? Now, confirmation to me is everything. It's a technique that I developed probably about 10 years ago in my trading. And essentially, how many times have we seen a chart where you have a resistance line here and the chart goes above and everyone's like, oh, it's breaking out. Oh my goodness, it's breaking out. And then what happens? It fails and it goes right back down. So essentially it stops out the bears here, and then it ultimately it cons all the bulls or any additional players on the sidelines to go long, and they kind of do a rug pull right there. I've seen it, and think about Bitcoin back in 2021. It broke that 65,000 high, never confirmed, so it was never a confirmed breakout, and reversed to the downside and went to 15,000 and change. So again, confirmation, very, very important here, guys. Again, that's taught in the Winning Trader series, but the key here is watch to see, and I'll guide you guys in these game plans if we confirm the line. Take a look at this. So here's your wedge pattern, very tight wedge. Now, what you can see here, and this is a great example, is that there were other cases in the recent history where we closed below the line. Here we closed below the line. Never confirmed. Notice there was no secondary day below. Instead, the next day we went right back in. Here, we closed below, then we closed on the line, never confirmed. Friday, we closed below. Do we confirm on the QQQ? That's the question mark, guys. That's what we're watching to find out. If we confirm, the kicker is this. Odds go from 50-50, and I apologize there, that's not the best 5 I could have drawn for you guys. So 50-50 odds when you don't have confirmation that it's a breakdown, to about 75-25 that it is. So it increases the odds substantially that there is a breakdown if, and I repeat, if we get confirmation. All right, so again, just something to keep in mind there as we continue through. So remember the time count I was just talking about? Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you're starting to stall out right there. And so it's just something that again, when you trade for almost 25 years now, I think in this next year, it'll be 25 years since I started trading at the end of this year, you start to notice certain things. And again, it doesn't mean it always works, but you just try to get the probability slightly in your favor so that you can have a winning ratio, right? Again, win 7, 8 times out of every 10, you're in the Hall of Fame essentially. So again, gold, I'm expecting a little bit of a check back here. Be interesting to see tomorrow on the CPI data. If it comes back to here, this is your buy zone. That would be a major technical support. Obviously, it's another great example of confirmation. I don't know how much you guys can see this here, but you closed above my level. reverse, didn't confirm. Closed above right here, reverse, didn't confirm. What you notice is when something kind of gets above and it doesn't really gain momentum, a la gold did gain momentum, right? That's been impressive. But when it kind of dances like this, where it closes above and then it gets rejected, closes above, gets rejected, it starts to make you say, wait a minute, what's the problem here? Who's selling into oil and why isn't it able to go? And then what do we see today? Downside on oil here. So it's not to say it can't break out, but the probabilities, when you had this nice bullish pattern, probabilities were probably at the 70-ish% chance that you were going to break out, but you wanted to see confirmation. Once it does this dance and starts to break down, you're now at a point where honestly, the favoring probably adjusts more towards 70% favoring the downside. And so again, as a trader, every day you're getting a new piece of the puzzle. And every day you need to factor in what is that new piece of the puzzle telling you in terms of probabilities about a move up or down. And that's why, again, so from day to day, probabilities are always going to shift. In fact, intraday, depending on what's going on, probabilities are going to shift. And that's what a good trader is going to do.